Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. And man, I just got through listening to an interview with Bob Arum. He wants to make the best fights for his fighters. You know, he has Terrence Crawford, of course, and has Vasily Lomachenko. And he wants Lomachenko to fight Mikey Garcia, and he wants Terrence Crawford to fight Errol Spence. And he made a comment, and he said that he would like to make those fights. Those fights can be easily made, but you have to ask Mr. Cancer. You know, and when Cancer, he was referring to Al Heyman. And he says, well, you know, if you guys want to dispute me, go see if you can get an interview with him. Go ask him, you know, if I'm lying. You know, this guy is a cancer for boxing. Cancer creeps into bones. There's no chemotherapy for Al Heyman. You know, and that was a trip how he used that analogy for Al Heyman. I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but I do find it strange that a guy that has such a reputation, you know, such experience in advising, stays out of the limelight, stays away from cameras, interviews, the public eye. You know what I mean? He's like, because one time you seen Al Heyman like on a video, and he was kind of like, and he saw the video looking at him, and he was kind of like, you know, it was funny, man. You know what I mean? It was one of those Floyd fights, I think. You know, Al Heyman has worked before with Bob Arum for, of course, you know, Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. But I don't think that had a lot to do with Al Heyman necessarily. I think that was with Steven Espinosa and then someone over on the HBO side. You know what I mean? John Molina, you know, fought, what was it? He fought he fought Terrence Crawford, but of course John Molina wasn't a high tier guy. So, you know, him with, you know, with Spence and Mikey Garcia, those are the top guys. And he did, you know, Arum also stated that, you know, Arum doesn't like his fighters fighting other fighters with other, you know, different promotional companies. Which there is some truth to that on both ends, because we could say the same thing about Bob Arum. You know what I mean? You look at Manny Pacquiao. Look at the same fights we saw over and over again. We had a Timothy Bradley 2, Timothy Bradley 3, Marquez 2, 3, and 4. You know, you had Brandon Rios. You know what I mean? He was going to fight Mike Alvarado on the undercard of Terrence Crawford, which that was very disrespectful to Manny. But anyway, you know, all these guys were top ranked guys. So I think that's a lot of people. I think they are easier. That's self-explanatory. It's easier to make fights in your own stable. You know, why would you want to come over here to elaborate and deal with someone else's bullshit, you know, with their protocol and their standards of how things done, you know, and then you do something different over here and you got to put up with that just for the sake of fans. You know, a lot of these promotional companies don't care about fans unless it sells. Not to see who's the best fighter. They don't give a damn about that. They just want to know what fight would sell, what fight would make the most money for the most, you know, profit. That's it. You know what I mean? Cut and dry. You know, will it sell out? Will it make any money? Will people want to see this fight? You know, and if so, how many people? Where's the market for these people? You know, those are the things that these big promotional companies ask when it comes to fighting someone, you know. But it's crazy that he used that analogy, you know, about Al Heyman. I think he's a private guy, you know. But if you see one side saying, I want to make the fight, and then you see another side that's stalling, because if, you know, of course, you talk to Errol Spence, now he wants 3 belts. You know what I'm saying? My only problem with Errol Spence is, why didn't you say that shit when you was drunk? When you was drunk off your ass making that rant, why didn't he say, no, I'm not going to deal with Terrence Crawford? And then before Terrence Crawford beat Jeff Horn, he said, well, Terrence Crawford still has Jeff Horn problems. Didn't he not say that? You know what I'm saying? Those are all excuses. So I don't believe that not only does Errol Spence not want to fight him, his promotional company, or the network, the people that control the network, which is Al Heyman and Mayweather Promotion, they don't want him to fight that fight. Not right now. They want to make enough money out of him. They want to build him up first. And then really, it's not really a bad idea to do that because everyone looks at Errol Spence as the number 2 welterweight. That's what, or some people look at Keith Thurman, but where the hell is he? I put it like this. There is no number 1 heavyweight. Welterweight. There's no number 1 welterweight. These guys have to prove themselves to be number 1. Keith Thurman was the number 1 guy. He ain't been around, so he's not the number 1 guy. So he has that Floyd mentality. Well, nobody beat me, so how am I not? Dude, you ain't been here. You have not been fighting. And Floyd did that all the time. He just pops up in the sport of boxing talking about, I ain't the former reigning pound for pound champion. Nobody beat me, so how am I? How am I not pound for pound? That thing with him and Brian Kenny, that was classic. That debate they had. But Keith Thurman still had, he's doing interviews saying he's number 1. No, he's not number 1. Number 1 is the people that's currently fighting. And hell, is it Errol Spence? He says Errol Spence is number 2, right? Well, he can claim himself as number 2 all day long, but he's not. No one's number 1 until they beat the top guys. And the top guy ain't Keith Thurman. Errol Spence is a self-proclaimed top guy. He's not, though. He ain't fought Porter or Garcia or Crawford to confirm anything. So, no, he's not. He just beat up Chris Algieri. He's a 140-pounder. Samuel Vargas, who the hell is he? He never fought Khan. He beat Brook. You can't beat one guy and claim to be the best. You know what I'm saying? And fight some lower opposition. You beat up Lamont Peterson. That was a small dude coming from 142. You know what I'm saying? He wouldn't go, and he was the only one that had the balls enough to take a fight with you. That's why other guys don't want to fight you, because there's no reward to it. They don't want that damn IBF belt. You know what I mean? Like, nah, we don't want it that bad, pimp. We good. I'm not. No, not here. So, no, I don't think that. As far as I don't think that Errol Spence wants that fight. You know what I mean? I don't think so. Or maybe he's saying that because he knows he can't make it. You heard Mayweather. Mayweather said, no, that fight's not even going to happen. We're going to let that fight build. We going to let that fight build. You know what I'm saying? So, no, that's not even the case at all. But do you think Al Heyman is a cancer for boxing, guys? Do you really think that? He's the only guy he's quiet. He's always a quiet factor. His voice, is, you see, you hear about what he's saying, but he's never doing any interviews. It's weird. You hear Mayweather kind of talking as a front man like he did in that interview, but he doesn't really take interviews or make interviews, and it's a trip. So I'm thinking like, okay, wow. Is there some sense to what Bob's saying? Like, damn, is this dude really a cancer? I don't know, man. It's hard to say. I do know this, I don't think it's Bob Arum that's stopping these fights from being made. It's Mayweather Promotions and Al Heyman. And if they can't make the best fights, you're the for us or against us. You know what I'm saying? If Bob Arum, because you look at Bob Arum. Bob Arum is what, in his mid to late 80s? He's down there 90 years old. Dude, look. Bob Arum doesn't have time to do the shit he did 20 years ago with the Trinidad and De La Hoya and the Manny Pacquiao and the Mayweather. He doesn't have time for that. He's tired of that. He wants to see the best fights from the best fighters while he's still walking around. Because if something happens to old Bob Arum, you know what I'm saying? He's not gonna live forever. Obviously he's lived a good life. Ain't stressed him out that bad to make it to the age he is now. But I think Bob Arum just wants to see the best fight the best now. He's past all that stuff. He started, in the 60s, right? 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s. Dude, he's been promoting for decades, 5 or 6 decades. This guy's been promoting fights. So Al Heyman, I don't really know much about him. I know he is, you hear people talk about him all the time. But you don't, I don't see any interviews about him. I would like to see one, sit down and hear him talk and hear him, hear what makes him tick. But I'm not really sure. But I think, and I believe him, like he's the reason. For what reason he's keeping these fights from being made, I don't know. Because they can be made. I would love to see Mikey Garcia fight Loma. Love to see Terrence Crawford fight Spence. But see, Spence, I don't know. Spence is showing me that not only he's doing like some Keith Thurman shit. And who's to say if he gets 2 belts, he'll fight Terrence Crawford. Because no one knows what Terrence Crawford will do after that. But yeah, anyway. You guys tell me what you think. Is Bob Arum just hating, or does he have some legitimate claims that Al Heyman is a cancer for the sport of boxing? You guys tell me. Of course, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications that you're going to get another video from me. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.